Hey, all right. Have you got just a small amount of time? I need to share a fragrance with you. All right, give me maybe 10 minutes of your valuable time because I need to share a fragrance with you. You all right with that? Okay. Let me warn you though. Laura, here's the disclaimer. I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert, this channel isn't monetized, seriously, it is a crazy random guy, me, John Legg, sharing a hobby and hopefully inspiring you to go and get a fragrance and spray the life out of it and enjoy it. Okay, right. Let me share a very new fragrance from the house of Ralph Lauren. Okay, let me try and focus it because I'm not very professional with this camera. So it is, oh Leggy, come on, I'll tell you what, I'll just read it to you. It's called Ralph's Club, you know, in the club sort of thing, Elixir. All right. Elixir. All right. At some point, all of the fragrance houses will just go on to a new name. All right. We've been through Intense, we've been through Perfume, and now we're going through Elixir. They all have to call something Elixir just to get your attention, to say this is the latest, this is the best, this is the strongest, this is the one you've got to buy. All right. So Uncle Ralph has brought this out. So it's Ralph's Club Elixir. All right. So I've got this bottle, I've had it for a little while. Let me tell you about the first time I sprayed it. So I've got the bottle and I'm looking at it thinking, oh, looks very classy sort of thing. And then I saw the top and I'm like, I'm going, oh, very clever. So we're not a magnetic cap and we're not just a pull on and off cap, we're not a screw cap. Look at that, something very innovative. And there's me larking around with this fragrance saying, oh, something different, a little hingy lid thing. Little did I know what was going to happen when I sprayed this fragrance. So I'm larking around with this fragrance and I sprayed it. And I was like, and I felt myself almost apologising and saying, look, I'm really sorry, sir. I was just talking about the cap. I wasn't mocking it or making fun of it. And this fragrance says to me like, just shut up. I felt like a naughty kid. All right, let me tell you, this fragrance is deep, it is rich, it is mature, unlike me, and it is very, very somber. Okay, this fragrance has zero sense of humour. So of course, with me larking around with it, it did not like that at all. All right, let me tell you, it is a very powerful scent. It is a very masculine scent, and it is a very, I'm going to say, formal. It is a very, as we would say in Britain, a very stiff upper lip. It's a very kind of fragrance. All right. This fragrance, I'm going to say, I don't think it has ever smiled in its entire life. I think maybe it's gone as far as a little grimace, and that's it. Gone straight back to, all right. This, I will warn you, is a very serious fragrance. Let me tell you what I'm smelling. I am smelling a grapefruit, not a fizzily, sparkling, punchy kind of grapefruit. A very dull, very disciplined, very somber kind of grapefruit. But there is a little bit of sweetness in this one. The next thing I smell is iris. Okay, I smell a really strong iris. In fact, the moment I sprayed it, my mind, my little fragrance brain cell, went straight to Dior Homme Intense from about 2015. All right, you're going to say there ain't much left in that bottle. You're absolutely right, but you can still smell it because this is a powerhouse. All right, yeah. This is not a million miles away from Dior Homme Intense. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, so the grapefruit, a very dull grapefruit. I then smell a very dominant sort of iris. It's not quite as sweet and as lipsticky, powdery as Dior Homme Intense, but nevertheless it is a very, oh, this is going to sound really crazy, it's like a dull sort of powderiness. To me, I just get iris. I don't know even if it is iris in this one, but that's what I'm smelling. And then I smell I smell like an incense, like a quite a serious sort of deep, almost ritual kind of incense in there. It's not a bright incense, it's a very dull incense. In fact, every note in here is kind of quite dull. I'm not saying that it's a bad fragrance, but I'm just warning you, do not expect anything with any kind of smile or sense of humour. This is a very serious, sombre, formal kind of fragrance. And then I smell a leather. And the leather is kind of, how can I put it? The leather is deep, it is very deep, but it's clean. It's not like a skanky, dirty kind of leather. All right. So the overall vibe for me personally is that it sits on the same bench as Dior Homme Intense, but it's not quite as, I'm going to sound really harsh, it's not quite as nice, if you like, because I love the lipsticky powdery vibe about this one, and to be honest, it's either going to be Marmite, you're going to love it or hate it, the Dior Homme Intense. Okay, I know a lot of people sort of, it has a cult following, all right, but this one sort of tries to go in that direction, but it stays dead serious, all right. Alright, I do, when I'm wearing this, I kind of feel as though I should be wearing a shirt and tie, and I should have a real sort of serious look about me. I mean, come on, Johnny Legg with a serious look. It doesn't happen, right? So when would I wear this? Okay, it would have to be a formal occasion. It would have to be something where I was suited and booted sort of thing. And I'm going to say, this is not a teenage fragrance. All right, this, Uncle Ralph has not designed this for teenagers. This has a maturity to it. It really does. Okay, I'm going to suggest that you would have to be at least 25 to be able to rock this fragrance. And I'm also going to say it would be better suited, I'm going to say, for the cooler weather. Realistically, I don't think you would want to wear this in the heat of summer. It's just not that kind of fragrance, and I think that's probably the incense in it. It just gives it a sort of a cooler weather sort of vibe. Okay, what about the price? Because this, I think most of the Ralph Laurens are 125ml, but I can't actually see how big this is. So let's say it's either 100 and 125. This is going to cost you in the region of 100 British pounds, and you're going to go, man, that's a lot of fragrance. All right, I will be totally honest with you and tell you that it smells expensive. It smells rich. Right, no, it smells rich. It smells very, very, very refined. Okay, but it does, however, it does smell like a designer fragrance, but a top-end designer. So is £100 good? I'm going to say, man, I would personally wait for this to be discounted, maybe £75 to £80 tops on this one, because the performance, now, it doesn't project wildly. Honestly, it does not project wildly. It's on the skin all day. It's on clothes all day. But in terms of projection, it does sort of radiate from you for around about 4.5 to 5 hours, but I wouldn't call it projection. It does sit really quite close. It is very persistent, and you, the wearer, pretty much are going to smell this all day, okay? Because it kind of sits really close, and you just keep getting cheeky whiffs of it. I haven't had anyone comment on this. I haven't had a single compliment, and I think that is because it does sit quite close. So, all right, if you want a fragrance for compliments, I'm going to suggest this may struggle to get you compliments because it's not sort of coming off you wildly. It does sort of radiate off you gently. I wouldn't call it a wild projection at all. It sits really quite close, although it's persistent. You'll kind of get that for sort of up to 8 hours perhaps. You, the wearer, will keep smelling it. Okay. So, what can I tell you about this fragrance? Dead serious. No sense of humour. Quite a dull fragrance, and I would say that realistically, who could wear this is an undertaker. All right, if you have a job as an undertaker, this is your fragrance. Okay, it's serious, it's somber, it's mature, it never puts a foot out of place. No, all jokes apart, it does have a maturity. It's not a teenage fragrance. It does last quite well, but not project wildly. And as for the price, honestly, I just think it's maybe overpriced for what it is. If it had a bit more character to it, you know, if there was, you know, if the grapefruit was allowed to sort of do a little bit of a sort of a sweetness punch to it, then there'd be a bit more interest. But it's a very sort of steady Eddie, sort of flat, doesn't put a foot out of place, serious kind of fragrance. All right, hopefully you've got a little bit of gist about this one, and hopefully you'll know whether to buy it or not for yourself personally. You know what, I don't mind which fragrance you buy. I don't really care which fragrance you buy because it doesn't affect me personally. I don't get paid for that sort of thing. But what I do want, seriously, what I do insist is that you spray a fragrance every day. In fact, when you've finished watching this review and you've clicked on the thumbs up, please, thank you. When you've done that, go to your wardrobe and get a fragrance. Get a fragrance and just spray it. Just keep spraying, right? And then as you walk around the house, you'll keep bumping into your trail. Or if there's other people in the house with you, they'll say, hey, you smell good. And you'll get a buzz, you'll get a feel-good factor, give you a little bit of confidence, and keep that smile on your face. I really appreciate you coming to this review. I appreciate the fact that I'm not a professional or an expert and you're here and I've managed to share a fragrance with you. That for me is amazing. Thank you ever so much for being to this review. Take care, stay safe, and promise me that you will keep spraying whichever fragrance you choose. Keep spraying it. Keep spraying it. I'll see you next review. Goodbye.